she keeps doing things, acting out, which makes her, in the grand scheme of things, look crazy.
Yeah.
So it's like back and forth. So they keep keeping her longer based on her behavior, but it's really just because she's pissed.
Yeah.
So it's pretty incredible, man. And I just found out this entire movie was shot on the iPhone 7 Plus.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Because it looks very good. Because I went to see it in the theater.
Yeah.
It looks good, and if you don't know that, you can't really tell. And it gives you it gives me hope because I'm saying, wow, like we can go out and shoot an average movie
Yeah.
on a budget like that.
That's
incredible.
really cool. Yeah.
And it's a good movie too. It's fun. It's got tension. It's got I think the writing's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys should check out Unsane, currently playing in your local cinema. All right, and my next recommendation is I think you should be able to find this on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
If you guys have that. It's Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction. It's a late 90s television show. Did you ever
No, I don't think I've seen it.
No, really?
Beyond Belief.
I can't remember if it was on ABC or Sci-Fi Channel, something like that, but the premise is basically they're short stories that offer the viewer the choice to decide whether they are true or false. So they spin you maybe 2 or 3 stories, or 3 or 4 or something in one episode, short stories, and at the end they tell you whether they are a myth or based on true events.
Okay, and it sounds familiar now.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds familiar.
It's hosted by Star Trek's Jonathan Frakes.
Okay.
The original Star Trek.
Yeah.
And the first season was actually hosted by James Brolin, who is Josh Brolin's father. I watched this actually while it was on as a kid, and I always loved it. I was fascinated by trying to figure out whether they were real or not before they would tell you.
Yeah.
And sometimes they would have episodes where you could call and actually vote on your little landline phone.
Oh, okay.
Pretty awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Very interactive. And there hasn't been anything quite like it since that I'm aware of. I think that that show is really good. The stories are really good and very creepy. Or they tend to add a very like creepy tone, and they would deal with like aliens and the paranormal and really cool stuff.
Cool.
So yeah, check it out. It's called Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction, and you can check out the 4 seasons on Prime.
Nice.
Yeah. And that wraps up our recommendations, and we move on to shows.
And now, Drop the Mic presents shows, and more shows.
So do you have any shows or concerts for me for this portion tonight? If not, that's cool.
I don't have any. I'm sorry, man. As usual.
Right. Well, I wanted to just plug our boys in Allweather.
Yes.
Who are a San Diego / El Centro band, and we're good friends with them. They are going to be playing the Black Cat Bar on April 20th. 420 Blaze It. Yeah, they're going to be playing 420 that night. So you guys should come out if you are in the San Diego area and are free on that day. It starts. They start a little later, like around 8:30.
Okay.
So come check out our boys, who are also they had a little airtime on the alternative radio station 94.9 in San Diego. And I actually was able to record.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, record that little bit of them basically talking about where they come from and a little introduction into one of their tracks.
Sick.
You want to check it out?
Yes, let's do it.
All right, let's play it. Here it is, guys. Enjoy.
Pretty much started, we're all friends from there, and we just formed a band up here together, and now we're playing. Our first show was last year at Escalera Fest.
Oh, nice. So, I got a question about El Centro. Is there venues out there to play?
There are.
I drive by it all the time, but
it's
a cow town, right? I mean, but it's just over the mountains, man. It's right there.
Yeah,
got some venues. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's mostly like for like cover bands or
Right.
something like a rodeo.
If you know Brown Eyed Girl or Boots Couldn't Boogie, you're doing all right in El Centro.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there's some like breweries opening up out there that have been having bands and stuff.
Well, if the prices keep going up in SD, man, pretty soon El Centro is going to be where it's at. Like pretty soon there's beards and pointy shoes everywhere.
Oh yeah.
What are you going to do?
They just got Uber like 2 years ago.
they just got Uber over there.
Yeah.
Right.
Really happening.
So is there a music scene in El Centro?
I think
anywhere that there's bored kids with nothing to do, you're gonna have people playing out of their garage. And
of course, I think that's where the best bands come from, is when there's nothing else to do.
Totally.
You know what I mean? If you're not into the El Centro, tradition, you're gonna find other things to do, and either you get somebody pregnant at 14, or you start a band, right? Or both, right? Or both. I mean, that's okay. You're a bit of Bakersfield, man. That's all that town is. You ever play Jerry's Pizza in Bakersfield?
I haven't.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah. I played there a lot of times. Yeah. It's just like basically it's like a brick hallway in the bottom, and it's all pregnant teens. It's pretty great. It's a pretty great show. It really is.
Oh wow.
You should put it on your tour list, Will.
Free pizza.
Yeah, belly bumping.
Yeah, the pizza's actually really good. Yeah. Yeah, they're moshing, belly bumping, doing Lamaze. It's awesome. It's like it's an ethereal experience. Okay, so I want to hear this. Allweather. This is a San Diego band, transplants from El Centro, which is, pretty much a San Diego neighbor. As far as I'm concerned, if you're on your way out to Yuma or anywhere like that, you'll drive right by it. It's pretty beautiful out there. It really is. Acatillo Wells, I like that out there. Yeah. Pretty nice. Okay, so let's listen to this. Allweather. These guys are playing La Escalera Fest 7, which is happening May 17th through 20th. And I still have yet to heard anybody come up with a DFMK acronym that tops the last one that I heard. You should call in and see if you could do it. DFMK. It has to be 4 words, and they all have to start with those letters in order. Don't mix them up, because it's not going to count. 833-272-1949. Let's see what you got. It's Allweather on the local 949.
Yeah, and that was our boys on the radio doing big things.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Allweather. Shout out to Manny and Tim and Annie. There's your little plug.
Yeah, nice.
And that moves us into our focus.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And now for the movie focus of the week.
All right. As we talked about when we started the episode, we're going to be talking about American History X, which was released in 1998. It's considered a crime drama / coming-of-age film. It's an hour and 59 minutes. It's got an 83 on Rotten. It was directed by Tony Kaye and starring Edward Norton, Edward Furlong, Verussa Balk, and Avery Brooks. Mm-hmm. The synopsis is, after a neo-Nazi is sent to prison, he starts to see the holes in his beliefs and vows to change his dangerous lifestyle. But this proves difficult after his brother also joins the same skinhead crew.
Yeah.
So let's open up for questions and discussions. And I want to ask you, before I forget, how did this movie affect you, and how do you think it sits in contemporary America?
All right, so this movie, I remember watching this at a pretty young age. Mm-hmm. And I really vividly remember that the flashback scene of the curb stomp.
Yeah.
And that is probably
I think it's burned in everybody's mind that have seen seen this film.
Yeah,
that's the standout.
That's the you seen American History X? Oh, the movie. If they don't remember the title, you say the movie where the guy gets curb stomped. Oh yeah, that one.
I know that's not funny, but
that's how you would describe this movie if you were trying to tell someone about the movie where the guy gets curb stomped. Oh yeah, I remember that movie. Yeah, man, that movie is crazy. And when I was younger, I was too young to understand everything that was going on in that movie. But watching it again is it's pretty scary how that type of the way this movie plays has a lot to do with what's going on now, and it's very similar, which is pretty scary. Where we have just racist people just all over the place, which is
I think
a crazy thing.
All right, it's always been around, right?
Yeah.
It's always been a problem, but I think because, and I'm not going to say his name on this show, but somebody has given a big voice to
Yes.
These people with these kind of attitudes.
Yeah.
And they, I feel like they have more of a say in what's going on now, and it's very scary. But yeah, I think I agree with you 100%. It's very scary the way that a lot of these issues that this film kind of at least attempts to tackle are even more relevant all these years later, because this movie's more than 20 years old now, and it's almost like they were foreshadowing where America was headed.
Yeah, which is crazy to think about. I mean, you wouldn't think that we were headed that way, but
Well, I mean, yeah, it's like we've had some very huge, like steps forward,
yeah, and then
giant
leaps back. Yeah, like you said,
And evolution, it's insane.
It seems like that. It seems that way, but it's just good people got to step up, man. Kind of stop that, and like just how Edward Norton's character, he kind of just throws away that old hatred and that stuff that was instilled in him when he was a kid. And just be positive people, man.
Or at least, try
to be, at least.
See, and a big thing that I want to before I forget this thought is that this movie really portrays the fact that hate isn't. We're not born with this kind of hate. Any kind of hate.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's like a form of brainwashing. Essentially, it's something that's instilled in you when you're younger.
Yeah.
And this movie does a really good job at kind of showing that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially with the younger brother, how he teaches him, because he's looking up to his older brother, looking up to Danny as his hero or his idol, which every younger sibling usually does. And he
what kicks off I feel like people who harbor this kind of hate or this kind of deep-seated hate is because they are victims of something traumatic in their life. And in this story, it's Derek Vineyard, the older brother. His father is killed. In his father was a firefighter, and I guess he was gunned down while putting out a fire in a black neighborhood, I believe. And so that kind of sends Derek into this spiral of, he blames an entire, not just African Americans, but every
single race that's not white Protestant.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what's happening now. You know what I mean? Like in America, with the. I don't want to say his name, but the guy who is in office. Before he had won, right? I turned on the TV. I think I was in LA at the time. I turned on the TV, and he was interviewing these women. These women who had lost children to people who had killed their loved ones, and they happened to be immigrants. And immediately I'm saying, how one-sided is this to pull these people, to kind of knowingly exploit these people and turn it into hatred and put it on TV, to kind of show it was like blatantly saying, we gotta, all Hispanics are rapists, or all Hispanics are criminals, and we need to get them out of there. It's like, how blatant, how could he,
how could you say that?
How could you get away with being on TV and doing, and these families, because they're so hurt and harboring this, it all comes back to they've lost someone. somebody and they don't know who to blame.
Yeah.
So it's like they scapegoat it on whoever it is convenient at that time. And that's so sad that people come along